तेरे साए में हमारा नौजवान, तेरे साए में हमारा नौजवान, ऐने अगलब है कि छूले आसमान, ऐने अगलब है कि छूले आसमान। अस्सलामे मस्कने कर्ज़े जदीद, जहलो हमसे तुझे नफरत शदीद। अस्सलामे मस्कने कर्ज़े जदीद, जहलो हमसे तुझे नफरत शदीद। हर कोई गोशा तेरा बैतुल फला, हासिले इल्मे जदीद हरदम रवा। हर कोई गोशा तेरा बैतुल फला, हासिले इल्मे जदीद हरदम रवा। अस्सलामे मरकज़े इल्म व हुनर, गंजे लालो गोहर। अस्सलामे मरकज़े इल्म व हुनर, गंजे लालो गोहर। निगहबानी कर तू इन माल का, निगहबानी कर तू इन माल का, हाल का इस्लाह अहवाल का, हाल का इस्लाह अहवाल का। तालिबाने इल्म तेरे आर पार, याद तेरी इनको आती बार बार। तालिबाने इल्म तेरे आर पार, याद तेरी इनको आती बार बार। रहमतें हैं आम तेरी बेशुमार, मिस्तर नौरोज़ आलम नौबहार। रहमतें हैं आम तेरी बेशुमार, मिस्तर नौरोज़ आलम नौबहार। हर कसे नाशाद को अब शाद कर, गुलशने कश्मीर को आबाद कर, गुलशने कश्मीर को आबाद कर, गुलशने कश्मीर को आबाद।
Assalamu alaikum. Worthy principal, sir, shall we start? Mudahir sahab.
Please carry on.
Okay, sir, okay. Thank you so much. Honorable Principal Secretary, Higher Education Department, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Shri Alok Kumar sir, respected Special Secretary, Higher Education Department, Dr. Ravi
देखो देखो
Shankar
जैसे
Sharma.
मेरे इरादे वैसे कहाँ गिरे यहाँ थे।
Mudahir sahab,
Hello, something wrong is going there.
Mudahir sahab.
अगर ये आ गया 30% में देखते हैं कितना एडजस्ट हो जाएगा हमका।
साथो जी
बस सुना तुम 3% से ताकि कैसे आराम से टाइम इसका और तो सब देख क्या
Mudahir sahab, are you there? There was some problem, some background, You're not audible, sir.
Hello,
Yes.
am I there? Can you hear me?
Yeah. It's not okay. There was some problem. There was a kind of a technical snag.
Okay.
Now you are hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Continue.
Shall we start then?
Yes, kindly start quickly.
Okay. Honorable Principal Secretary, Higher Education Department, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Shri Alok Kumar sir, respected Special Secretary, Higher Education Department, Dr. Ravi Shankar Sharma, Director of College, Professor Yasmin Ashai, Nodal Principal, Kashmir Division College, Professor Sheikh Ejaz Bashir, today's invited guest speaker, Professor Gir Mohammad Ishaq, Professor of Pharmacology and Acting Director of Center for Career Planning and Counseling, SEL, University of Kashmir, Principal Government Degree College, Baramulla, Professor Muhammad Farooq Rathar, Principals of various colleges, Staff Secretary of an institution, Professor Tariq Ahmad Chalku, Coordinator IQAC, Dr. Said Mutahar Akib, faculty members of different institutions, faculty members of our college, students, and other participants. A very good morning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of you. Dear participants, I, on behalf of the college, welcome you all in the third session of our webinar series, Convergence 360, Exploring Advances in Science, Humanities, and Technology, organized under aegis of Viksit Bharat 2047. The webinar series is organized by IKC Cell of Government Degree College, Baramulla, to provide platform to invited speakers and participants for the exchange of innovative ideas and research findings. Dear participants, our college has taken a lead role in implementing the policies of the government, which empower our students and make them capable to contribute better in different sections of society and fulfill the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, that what we should do it for developed India. And a strong and an empowered society gets created only when the citizens think in the interest of the country and when they think about the welfare of the country. I now request Dr. Said Muthair Akib, convener IQAC Cell, Government Degree College, Baramulla, to appraise the participants about the aim of this webinar series. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible? Laisa, am I audible? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you. Kindly add all the participants. They are in waiting room, Bilal sir. I can see some participants there. Okay. Thank you, Zaid sir. Worthy principal, respected participants, and our esteemed speaker, Professor Gir Mohammad Ishaq. On behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell, I welcome you all to this lecture by Professor Gir Mohammad Ishaq sir. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Professor Gir sir for accepting our invitation at a very short notice, as was facilitated by our Dean Research, Dr. Humaira Kadri. Once again, sir, I thank you for your gracious presence. So before we get into the today's insightful session, let me take a moment to provide a brief update about this Convergence 360 webinar series. So the basic aim of this webinar series is to foster interdisciplinary dialogue and collaboration, and we intend to make it a journey marked by the exploration and knowledge sharing. In our inaugural session, day before yesterday, we had the privilege of hosting some distinguished speakers like Professor Vikram Singh, Professor Nija Mottu, and Ambassador Abhay Kumar, and their profound insights set off the spirit of curiosity and collaboration amongst our participants. Our second session was on translation, which featured Professor Mottu and Ambassador Abhay Kumar, and they explored the intricacies of language, cultural exchange, and ecological sensibility of that's involved in poetry. So, as we continue with this journey, today's lecture by Professor Gir sir shall add another layer to this exploration of fulfilling the dream of Viksit Bharat. And we eagerly anticipate the insights and guidance that Professor Isha Gir, sir, shall share with us, contributing to our collective understanding of a vision of Viksit Bharat. So once again, I extend my warm welcome to Professor Ishaq sir, and I request all the participants to absorb the wisdom that he imparts. So I also thank you all for your continued participation in this webinar series. I'm also thankful to our worthy principal and Professor Tariq Chalku sir, the staff secretary of our college, for his support. I must also place on record my sincerest appreciation of Dr. Humaira Qadri, our Dean Research, and Dr. Abduru Bhatt for pinpointing minor details in making this webinar series a success. So now, without further delay, over to you, Zai sir. Sir, are you there? Zai sir, unmute yourself. Ah.
Hello. Thank you so much, Dr. Said Mutahar, for briefing our participants about the aim of webinar series. Now, I request our worthy principal, Dr. Mohammad Farooq Ratta, to formally welcome the guest speaker, other guests, and the participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Zahid. Professor Isaac Saab, Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Sir, you are welcome in this session. But before I go for something else, I'll first talk about the 60s health index of India. It used to be very, very low. It has improved a bit, but not to the satisfactory level. Sir, at present, we are having some sort of success in pharmaceutical companies in making better drugs, but still we are not having that better health index at international level. Since our 55% population is below 30 years, it means our youth must have better health. But the culture of junk food, culture of processing food, cold drinks, spice-based food, I would say preservatives used. People now coming out of domestic homes and entering into restaurants for taking food. Almost the kitchen is closed now in homes, especially in metropolitan cities. Sir, what you have to say regarding the health? Because when youth is having health, then there is possibility we can have the dream of Viksit Bharat by 2047. So health is the primary part in it. I request you, sir, please elaborate. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, worthy principal, sir, for sharing your views. Now, it is the time to listen to our guest speaker, Professor Gir Mohammad Ishaq. But before I will request the guest speaker to start his talk, I would like to inform the participants that Professor Gir Mohammad Ishaq has been serving as a faculty in pharmacology at the Department of Pharmaceutical Science, University of Kashmir, over the last 21 years. At present, he holds the additional charge of Director, Center for Career Planning and Counseling, University of Kashmir. Professor Gir has earlier served as coordinator of UGC, Human Resource Development Center of the University of Kashmir, for a period of 5 years. Professor Gir has published 51 research papers and presented 48 papers in various national and international conferences. He and his research team has won 5 Best Paper Awards in various conferences and journals. He has delivered 155 extension lectures on various topics outside his department, besides publishing 125 popular articles in print media. Professor Geer has been appointed as a member expert committee on antibiotic utilization under National Drug Utilization Evaluation Program of India by the Indian Council of Medical Research, New Delhi. He has also been appointed as advisor to the Price Monitoring and Resource Unit of the Drug and Food Control Organization, Jammu and Kashmir, and has also been appointed as a member of the PG Curriculum Committee of the Pharmacy Council of India, New Delhi. Professor Geer has served as a member of the Institutional Ethics Committee of SIGMUL GMC Srinagar and RRIUM Srinagar earlier, and has been enlisted as a peer reviewer by the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, Bangalore. I request our chief guest, please start his talk and aware about the participants about the topic he will be basically talking about. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Zahid Ahmad Wani Saab. Shri Alok Kumar Ji, Principal Secretary, Higher Education Department, Dr. Ravi S. Sharma Ji, Special Secretary, Higher Education Department, Professor Yasmin Ashai Ji, Director Colleges, Professor Sheikh Ejaz Bashir, Nodal Principal, Kashmir Division Colleges, Professor Muhammad Farooq Rathar Saab, Principal, Government Degree College, Baramulla, Staff Secretary, Dr. Tariq Chalku Saab, Dean of Research and Development, Dr. Humaira Qadri, and IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Muttahar Aqib Saab, respected faculty members, dear students and scholars, and other distinguished guests. A very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizing committee, especially the principal of Government Degree College, Baramulla, for inviting me to participate in this 360 Convergence webinar series. Earlier, I had the privilege to be present at Government Degree College, Baramulla in a conference on national education policy, wherein we discussed about the autonomous nature of the colleges and autonomy under national education policy. And I had a very great experience, a very enthralling and enchanting experience over there of deliberating on the issue of autonomy for colleges under national education policy. And now this is the second time when I am deliberating on a topic of very crucial importance, that is the Viksit Bharat at the rate of 2047. And I hope this will be, the participants will find it interesting and informative today also. And, as mentioned by Dr. Muttahar Aqib Saab, only a couple of days back, in fact, Dr. Humaira Qadri had contacted me a few days back, but then I had not decided about the topic yet. So when Dr. Muttahar contacted me a couple of days back, instantly it struck my mind that we should discuss some new topic and fresh topic. So I thought, I was actually writing an article on the Viksit Bharat, the suggestions, because as you know, that Government of India was inviting suggestions from the youth, from colleges, universities on Viksit Bharat Abhiyan. So I was writing an article. So I thought, why not to put across my views and suggestions through this forum, through this platform, and discuss with the audience over there what should be the aim and objective and goals and targets for achieving this dream of Viksit Bharat by the year 2047. So that's how I decided to discuss this particular topic. So now I'll be sharing my presentation, and please let me know whether my slides are visible or not.
Yes, sir, it's
Yes, sir,
visible.
they are visible. They are
Right.
visible.
Thank you. Thank you. So the topic will be accomplishing our dream of Viksit Bharat by the year 2047. And what we need to do, when I was writing this article on this particular topic, I was just giving a deep thought and understanding what are the challenges confronted by our country. In order to overcome those challenges, what steps and measures need to be taken, and how we can fulfill our dream of a developed country, a Viksit Bharat, after completing 100 years of our independence in the year 2047, which marks the centenary celebration of independence. So that's how this idea came to my mind that I should discuss this topic. So what is Viksit Bharat? Viksit Bharat 2047 is the vision to make India a developed nation by the year 2047, the 100th year of independence. And this vision encompasses various aspects of development, which includes economic growth, social progress, environmental sustainability, and good governance. A whole lot of issues, a gamut of issues come under this. every sector comes under this, every sector of our life, of governance, whether it is industry, agriculture, education, health. Honorable Principal Saab was particularly asking about health and food habits. That is also a very important aspect. But then there are a whole lot of aspects, governing each and every sector, each and every department, whether it is the industry or the private sector, public sector, investment, savings, agriculture, health, education, or any other sector, foreign trade, import, export. It covers everything, because our country has to excel in each and every sphere in order to fulfill this dream of Viksit Bharat. And this is being considered as a voice of youth. The government is inviting suggestions from all sections of the society, particularly the youth who are studying in colleges and universities, and to provide them an initiative and a platform to contribute their ideas, because youth are the engines of change. And as mentioned by now the worthy Principal Saab, that more than 50% population is around 30 years of age in our country. So that is majority of the population is of youth. So the youth have to contribute towards this vision of Viksit Bharat. And our youth have to be the engines of change. They have to be the change makers. Therefore, a series of workshops are being organized all across the country, engaging youth to share their ideas and suggestions for Viksit Bharat. As you all know that on December 11th, Honorable Prime Minister launched this program and invited suggestions for Viksit Bharat from youth all across the country. And he addressed the nation, and he mentioned he introduced this concept of Viksit Bharat, and expressed his feelings and emotions and his vision about this particular abhiyan. Now, the key components of Viksit Bharat Abhiyan, this plan has been prepared by our Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog has replaced the Planning Commission of India. Niti stands for National Institution for Transforming India. So this Niti Aayog has identified certain key areas, certain key components which need to be worked on in order to achieve the dream of Viksit Bharat. And for example, they have said the renewable energy revolution has to be brought in. And we need to scale up the deployment of solar, wind, hydro, and other green energy sources. Because this Viksit Bharat, or developed country, developed nation, is all about sustainable energy, protecting environment, protecting climate, and at the same time achieving progress and development. So this progress and development doesn't have to be at the cost of environment, at the cost of our resources. The environment has to be protected simultaneously. So it has to be a sustainable environmental protection, sustainable growth, sustainable peace and progress. And that's why sustainable agriculture and food security is also mentioned as one of the key areas. That means it involves sustainable farming practices, water conservation, soil health management. Then eco-friendly transportation needs to be introduced, which means that all the fuel-driven vehicles, petrol or diesel-driven vehicles, have to be replaced by electric vehicles. And there have to be improved public transportation systems in order to minimize the effusions, in order to minimize these gases transmission of greenhouse gases. So eco-friendly transportation has been mentioned as a key component. Then circular economy. What is circular economy? It's a very, very important aspect in which we tend to reduce the wastage. We tend to reuse and recycle things, the materials. So we need to enhance the life cycle of the materials and products. Their shelf life has to be increased, and their recycling has to be promoted, so that less and less waste is generated. And single use and throw policy has to be avoided, and more sustainable usage has to be promoted, so that less and less waste is generated. Recycling is promoted, responsible consumption. So mindless consumption to mindful utilization. We have to go from mindless consumption of utilities, of products, of materials, to their mindful utilization, to their sustainable utilization. That is what circular economy is all about. And then the green infrastructure, whatever buildings we build, whatever infrastructure we build, it should be eco-friendly, it should be resilient, and it should be environment friendly. That's why they need to be sustainable green buildings, and this urban planning has to be done accordingly. So that is one major initiative which needs to be taken. And these are the components which have been identified by the Niti Aayog for achieving this Viksit Bharat vision. And while Honorable Prime Minister was addressing the nation on 11th of December while launching this Viksit Bharat Abhiyan, he mentioned certain key points, and he said certain things which need to be taken very seriously, and we need to have a relook on those what he exactly said. He said that this is a quantum leap which is to be taken by our country from independence. Since independence, our goal was something else, but now the goal has to change. For India, this is the right time. यही सही समय है और यही समय है. So this is the time and this is the right time. We have our freedom struggle as huge inspiration when national efforts got concentrated to only one goal of independence. Ultimately, our country achieved that goal of independence. But now the goal of independence is no more a goal. We are already independent country. Today, the aim of our goals, our resolutions has to be developed India. So now we have to work towards our developed country, from independent country to developed country. And the idea has to start with I. Just like India starts with I and begins with an I, developmental efforts also have to begin from ourselves. We have to start from ourselves in whichever little modest way we can, in whichever little modest manner we can. We have to start from ourselves. And when citizens start doing their duty at their own modest and individual level, the country will move forward. So Honorable Prime Minister has said that exam date has been declared. The examination is on 2047. And as citizens of this country, we have 25 years of Amrit Kal in front of us, during which we have to work 24 hours a day. We have to contribute in whatever little manner we can. And our youth have to contribute their power, their energy as agents of change, as beneficiaries of change. And the roadmap of progress will not be decided by the government alone, but by the whole nation, by the youth of the nation. And that's why he said that because Viksit Bharat has to be built through Sabka Prayas. So when we think about Viksit Bharat, the developed India, we need to see where do we stand as of today. At any point of time, if I get disconnected or my slides are not moving or I'm not audible, please let me know so that I can remedify and take appropriate measures. But I hope this time I am visible as well as audible.
Sure.
So this, as of today, this is where we stand.
It's going
the
well, sir.
economic
It's
survey,
going well.
right? Economic survey has been conducted recently in 2023. And as per that survey, this is the present situation. So now we need to see where are we standing as of today and where we have to reach. Accordingly, we have to devise a roadmap. So the economic scenario as of today says that the fiscal deficit is at 6.4. In 2019, it was at 4.7. 2022-23, it is at 6.4. The foreign exchange reserves were at $478 billion in 2019. Today, they are at $563 billion. Agriculture and allied activities where the growth rate was 5.5%. In 2019, it has reduced a bit, which is a cause of concern. It has reduced to 3.5, mainly because of COVID-19 in 2020. So this is a cause of concern. It has to come up. Then inflation is another cause of concern, which has risen. The wholesale price index has risen to 11.5 from only 1.7 in 2019. It has risen to 11.5. Similarly, the consumer price index has risen to 6.8. So this is another area of concern which needs to be addressed. In services sector, the growth rate has increased from 6.3% in 2019 to 9.1% in 2022-23. Similarly, the industrial growth has shown a magnificent rise from minus 1.4 in 2018 to 4.1% in 2022. So industrial growth is quite remarkable. And GDP also has shown increase, the gross domestic product. GDP, for the sake of the students, is the income of the country, overall total income of the country. And this has risen from 3.7% in 2019 to 6.8 in 2023. So GDP is growing, but it has to grow further. It has to scale new heights in order to achieve our vision of Viksit Bharat. And now what is the roadmap? The roadmap is shown very clearly. We have in front of us the Sustainable Development Goals, which have been fixed by the United Nations. And these Sustainable Development Goals, they present a comprehensive agenda for global development by the year 2030. It all started in 1992 in Brazil, wherein the first summit was held, or Earth Summit, and they had devised certain goals. Then it continued, and in the year 2000, in New York, another summit was held at the United Nations head office. And then there they devised the Millennium Summit. It was known as the Millennium Summit. And there they devised the Millennium Development Goals. But those goals were only up to 2015. In 2015, another summit was held, which was known as the Sustainable Summit, Global Summit. And in that, they devised the Sustainable Development Goals, in which there are 17 goals which need to be achieved by 2030. And this is known as 2030 Agenda, which emphasizes on the spirit of cooperative and competitive federalism. This is a very important term, which I will explain a little later, particularly in the context of our country, which has states and union territories. The concept of cooperative and competitive federalism assumes a lot of importance. This is a manner of working in a cooperative manner, in a healthy competition, having healthy competition between states for achieving certain landmarks, for achieving certain milestones in terms of health, education, progress, industrial development, growth. And that is what is known as cooperative and competitive federalism. Then SDG, in our country, there is an SDG India Index, which monitors the progress on sustainable development goals on real-time basis. There is a dashboard. And our Niti Aayog has come up with multidimensional poverty index, which shows where is our poverty. How many people are suffering below poverty line? How many people are above poverty line? And we also have a progress review conducted in 2023. Then we also have a Northeastern Region Index. So these are the indices which tell us what is the progress on sustainable development goals, where we are lagging behind, where we are doing well, and what needs to be done. So as I said, there are 17 goals in total under sustainable development goals, and there are more than 100 indicators, and there are targets. So in this slide, you can see the 17 sustainable development. These are very, very important, very crucial for achieving the level of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Though these sustainable development goals are there only up to 2030, but we have to continue further. We have to customize them to our own local needs and demands. And then we have to carry it on further till 2047. So these sustainable development goals, which all of you might have already heard about, and they might be knowing it. There is first goal is no poverty. Second is zero hunger. Third is good health and well-being, which was being mentioned by the principal sir. Fourth is quality education. Fifth is gender equality. Then sixth is clean water and sanitation. Seventh is affordable and clean energy. Eighth is decent work and economic growth. Ninth is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. 10th deals with reduced inequalities. 11th deals with sustainable cities and communities. 12th deals with responsible consumption and production. 13th goal deals with climate action. 14th deals with life below water. And 15th deals with life on land. 16th goal deals with peace, justice, and strong institutions, while as the 17th goal deals with partnerships for the goal.
Hello. Sir, are you there?
We are listening, but the video has stopped.
Certain targets, and for each target there are certain indicators. How will you know whether we are achieving the target or not? That will be known by these indicators. And similarly, we need to devise targets and indicators for achieving Viksit Bharat by 2047. We need to have our own targets and indicators, which will be monitored on yearly basis, on 5-yearly basis, on 10-yearly basis. And so that by the time we come close to 2047, we'll be in a position to monitor and evaluate how much progress we are making, whether we are achieving the desired targets and goals, and whether we'll be able to achieve the final objective. It is not that today we decide to have a Viksit Bharat by 2047 and just leave it like that. We have to monitor it on real-time basis, on annual basis, 5-yearly basis, 10-yearly basis, and then only it will become possible. But now, so far as these 17 sustainable development goals are concerned, they were devised in 2015, and they have to be completed or accomplished by 2030. So it is a 15-year period. But already 7.5 years have passed. We are in the middle, we are at the end of 2023. So already we have completed 8 years. Now, what is the progress? If we have half of the period has gone by, it was to be completed within 15 years, we have completed 8 years. The progress made on more than 50% of targets of sustainable development goals is weak. This is as per the report published by the United Nations in this year, 2023. They have published a report on the progress on sustainable development goals, in which they have stated that more than 50% of the targets achievement is weak and insufficient. And on 30%, the progress has stalled. It is stationary. It has even gone into reverse. So this is the present status of progress on these sustainable development goals worldwide. I'm not talking only about India. I'm talking globally in the world international context. So that means that's why United Nations has called for action from all the member countries. They have identified 5 key areas for urgent action, in which they have emphasized and urged upon the heads of the states and governments to recommit themselves for the remaining period for a more sustained and transformative action, both at the national and international level. So these are the 5 key areas which they have identified, on which they have asked the countries to work upon and to show more concerted action, more dedication, and to work out ways and means on how the progress could be achieved. But for our Viksit Bharat Abhiyan, we need to have our own indicators, our own goals, our own targets, which need to be monitored on an annual basis. So coming to the issues, now what are the major concerns, what are the major issues in our country on which we need to work upon in order to achieve our dream of Viksit Bharat by the year 2047? So I think the population is the first and foremost concern, because the population of our country has crossed 140 crores in 2021. And today the population growth rate of our country has slightly decreased from 1.25% in the year 2014 to 0.8% in the year 2023. The United Nations has also projected India's population to be 164 crores by the year 2047. Today, we are more than 140 crores. By 2047, we are going to be around 164 crores. Our population has surpassed the population of China in the middle of this year. That is somewhere around June or July. Our population has surpassed the population of China. So if there is actually a race, a virtual race between the growth of population and the growth of economy, the rate at which economy is growing and the rate at which population is growing. Because the economy has to surpass, economy has to overtake the growth rate of population. Then only will be able to become a developed country. Because the to reduce this pressure of demand on our natural and man-made resources. And if the rate of population continues to grow in a very haphazard manner, in a very uncontrolled manner, but that brings us to the debate. It is a very debatable issue. Therefore, this should be the first and foremost step in our journey towards fulfilling our dream of Viksit Bharat. But here I need to tell you all that it is a very debatable issue, because many countries, they are not for controlling population forcibly. For example, we have the example of China and we have the example of Iran in front of us. The China introduced one-child policy in the year 1979, and the population rate declined. It went down constantly. But then the population, the child birth rate also decreased, the fertility rate decreased, the sex ratio declined, and then they had to go back to the two-child policy in the year 2015. They lifted this ban on, from 1979 to 2015. or 16, they had a one-child policy in the country. But then looking at the decrease in birth rate and decrease in the child sex ratio, they shifted to two-child policy in 2016. And then even after that, when the decline in birth rate could not be controlled, they had to go to the three-child policy in the year 2019. Now it is okay to have three children in China after 2019, but still the China is witnessing a decline in because people have got used to one-child policy and people want to have one child rather than having two, and they want to invest their resources, their money and other things on one child rather than having two. But this has also led to a decline in birth rate, decline in the reproductive women ratio, the child sex ratio, and as a result of which the country is finding it difficult to overcome those problems. So similarly, we have another case of Iran, wherein Iran had also put some curbs on child control, birth control. But then looking at the decline in the population growth rate in Iran, they had also banned vasectomies in the public health centers, in the government health institutions. The vasectomies were banned. The use of contraceptive was allowed only for women who had some health issues. But then looking at the decline in population rate, they had to go back to their policy and lift the ban on child this birth because economic growth rate of economy has to be in any case higher than the population growth rate. Then, because otherwise the demand and supply ratio, there will be more demand will be more, supply will be less. So in order to maintain a balance between this demand and supply ratio, we have to take adequate measures to have a proper balance in the population and in the economy. I think that is the first and foremost thing which we need to address, the population. Then second thing which we need to address is poverty alleviation. India has been witnessing a very steady decline in poverty over the last 10 years. And there has been a constant rise in peace, progress, and development in the country. More than 6 million people have been brought out of the morass of poverty over the last 10 years. Our Niti Aayog took a very significant step in 2021 by releasing the first ever multidimensional poverty index for India. So if we look at this multidimensional poverty index released by Niti Aayog, it says that 24.9% Indians were multidimensionally poor in 2015, but this percentage has come down to 15% in 2019. So this multidimensional poverty has decreased from 2015 to 19, and steadily it has decreased from 2019 onwards. This index is an important tool to track our progress towards accomplishing UN Sustainable Development Goals, because SDG 1.2 specifically deals with reduction in poverty in all its dimensions. So overall progress in nutrition, years of schooling, sanitation, standard of living, availability of cooking gas, these have been the significant contributors towards the decline in our multidimensional poverty index. So more and more, sanitation has improved, Swachhata Abhiyan has been started, years of schooling, nutritional, standard of living, all these are indicators of poverty. So if we want to achieve our dream of Viksit Bharat, we need to work more. A lot of work needs to be done by all the stakeholders, particularly in order to reduce the multidimensional poverty. And we need to work on areas like nutrition, child and adolescent mortality, maternal health, years of schooling, school attendance, availability of cooking gas, sanitation, drinking water, housing, electricity, assets, and bank accounts. So these are the areas which we need to work upon, which are shown in red color, in order to decrease further the multidimensional poverty and make it a developed country. So that was the second. First was the population. Second was the poverty alleviation. And third area is enhancing the rate of literacy. That is the spread of education. Thanks to the central government, which has brought out the National Education Policy 2020. which aims to increase the gross enrollment ratio to 50% by the year 2035, which aims to reduce the school dropout rates and aims to continuously increase our college population index, institutional density, pupil teacher ratio, gender parity index. So national education policy is a landmark document which will increase the literacy rate. Over the past 10 years also, the literacy rate has increased. The previous census was conducted in 2011. Since then, the literacy rate in India has increased by 8%. And now it stands, as of today, our literacy rate stands at 77.7%. As per the Ministry of Education, Government of India, the literacy rate in rural India stands at 67%, while as the literacy rate in urban India stands at 84%. And average of these two is 77.7%. According to UNESCO report, India will achieve universal literacy in the year 2060. So now this is what we need to work upon. The UNESCO says that we will have 100% literacy by the year 2060. But if we want to make India a developed country, a Viksit Bharat, by 2047, then we need to have universal literacy by 2047. And our government needs to take additional measures to achieve this universal literacy by 2047. We need to lay a lot of emphasis on states and union territories which have less than 80% literacy rate. For example, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Arunachal Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Meghalaya, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, Jharkhand, Manipur, Odisha, and West Bengal. These are some of the states and union territories whose literacy rate is less than 80%. And more emphasis needs to be laid on these states and these union territories so that a literacy rate comes up. Because literacy is one and only means by which we can make our population productive. They can be productive contributors towards the progress and development of our country. See, if we have more illiterate people, they cannot contribute towards the progress of the country. Only literate, educated people can contribute, and every single individual can become an asset rather than a liability for our country. If a person is illiterate, he is a liability. If a person is educated, he is an asset. He can contribute in a very significant manner towards Viksit Bharat. So that was the third area which needs attention. And fourth one is increasing employment opportunities, increasing job opportunities, decreasing unemployment, decreasing unemployability. Unemployability refers to skill deprivation. So we have to make our youth employable. They should have the required skill sets, mindsets to fulfill the needs of the job industry. Because India is a young nation, which is home to more than 650 million young people. 65% of our total population is aged between 18 and 35, and around 50% is aged 29 years. So half of our population is aged 29 years. So we are a young nation, and that is the demographic dividend which we have. We need to earn this, exploit this demographic dividend, and this dividend will persist until 2056. From 2056 onwards, our country is going to have more of older people, more of elderly people than young people. But till then, we can benefit from this demographic dividend, which is likely to peak around 2041. And that time, at 2041, the working age population aged between 20 to 59 years is expected to reach 59%. So this is the right world, leading to more aging of the world population. See, worldwide, there is a phenomena that is, you need to pay attention towards this important aspect, that worldwide, the population is aging. Overall population is aging. More than 102 countries in the world have reported that their population is aging, which is a major concern. And even 54 countries have enacted policies which intend to raise fertility rates. So good number of countries are having a elderly population, aged population, but we are lucky that we have a population which is young. Our country is full of young people. But in order to maintain this, we need to have increase our childbirth rate. The mortality rate has to be decreased, morbidity rate has to be decreased, The child sex ratio has to be continued with the present momentum. And in order to realize our dream of Viksit Bharat, we need to build on this demographic dividend and work on the fertility of our population. How can we work on the fertility of our population? By maintaining healthy lifestyles, good food habits, less use of alcohol, less use of smoking and drugs. And as Principal Saab was mentioning, we're shifting towards the junk food, and we're not able to maintain healthy lifestyles, where sedentary lifestyles are becoming very common. So we need to work on these issues: the healthy lifestyles, good food habits, less use of smoking, alcohol, drugs, so that our population, our youth become more and more productive and resourceful, and they are in a position to contribute towards Viksit Bharat. Our government also needs to create more job opportunities by setting up industrial areas, parks and hubs, by promoting small scale industrial sector, by promoting innovation incubation.
Excuse me, Geer sir. So we are losing your audio.
And circular economy, we tend to
Geer sir,
promote the small
sorry
and
sir. Sorry
yes,
to
yes.
interrupt, sir. Sir, we are losing your audio, no? Thoda sa, I think your internet connection is a bit weak, I think.
Okay. Are the slides moving? Slides are moving?
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Slides are fine.
So what I will do is, in order to increase the bandwidth, instead of going the slide screen mode, if I'll go to the full screen, I'll stop
Yes.
sharing the full screen, so that some bandwidth is preserved
Yes,
and
yes.
my audio becomes better.
Yes, sir. Yes. So that will be better.
Okay. Is it visible? Is the text visible in this mode?
Yes, it's visible. It's visible. Text is
Okay.
visible.
Right. So promoting micro and small scale industries is very important for circular economy. As I said, circular economy lays emphasis on the goods, the utilization of goods repeatedly, recycling them, preventing wastage. And we don't want to have big industry, and because that if we establish more and more big industry, that produces more and more emission, greenhouse gases, which affects the environment. Therefore, we need to have a chain of these small scale industry, which will create more and more job opportunities, which will create more and more revenue, and the production becomes easy, recycling and recirculation becomes very easy. And that is how we're able to sustain our industry, sustain our economy. So the micro, small, and medium industry comprises the backbone of our country's economy. They contribute more than 30% to our GDP and are responsible for 50% of our country's total exports. They are also accountable for 1/3 of India's manufacturing output. So more than 40% of the manufacturing output comes from small and micro medium industries. Therefore, MSMEs employ more than 11 crore people and manufacture thousands of products, which create ample job opportunities in both urban and rural areas of the country. However, they face a lot of challenges. These micro and small medium industry, they face a lot of problems, a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges in terms of organizational development, and managerial competence. So these are the things which the support which these MSMEs need from the government. So, and therefore it is prudent if a high level technical committee is set up by the government to look into the strengths, weaknesses, threats, opportunities, and challenges before MSME sector, and so that they'll be in a position to help and extend a helping hand to them, and give them a chance to prosper, give them a chance to build their infrastructure, adopt new technologies. I think my slide screen sharing has stopped. I'll share the slides again. Okay, so
Yes, sir. Kindly share it again, sir.
Yeah, I'm sharing it. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you. And then the next important step is revolutionizing agricultural sector, because agriculture is the backbone of our economy. It is the core of socio-economic development of the country. Agriculture accounts for 19% of our GDP, and 2/3 of the population is dependent on this very sector. See, how does a country become developed? When the food grain production is sufficient enough to feed the people. Simple as that. And if the population is more, the production is less, then it becomes a problem. So we have already become self-reliant in terms of wheat production, rice production. Our country is a big supplier of wheat to many other countries. After the green revolution, which began in 1960, our nation became a great supplier of the food grain, and we made great strides in domestic food grain production, significantly contributing to progress in agriculture. But then this has to be taken further. The technologies are being used in agriculture these days worldwide. New technologies, new mechanization, new hybrid varieties of seeds are being used, and the land mass available for agriculture has to be increased. Today, India is the world's largest sugar producing country and holds the second position in rice production, only after China. India is also the second largest producer of wheat with a share of around 40% of the world's total production. And we are also inching towards self-reliance in pulse production. So already we have made good strides in the food grain production. But as per the fourth advanced estimates, the production of food grains in the country is estimated to touch 315 million tons which is higher by 5 million tons than the last year. So the green revolution has already set the tone for agricultural upliftment, revolutionization. But we need, to empower our farmers. We need to uplift our farming sector, and some of the steps which are needed by the government to make Bharat completely Atmanirbhar, self-reliant in terms of food production, includes adoption of new farm technologies, farm mechanization, by substituting the use of cattle with modern tractors, other machinery to increase the productivity, use of hybrid varieties of seeds for better yield, construction of new dams for better irrigation, enhancing soil quality through appropriate chemical interventions, using both micro and macronutrients, augmentation and better management of irrigation through improved irrigation practices, including sprinkler and drip irrigation practices, risk mitigation by way of crop insurance, efficient marketing opportunities for assured and remunerative sale of produce. Then similar measures are needed to be taken in horticulture, floriculture, dairy farming, sheep husbandry, poultry farming. So this is basically the food production, food which will meet the demands of our population, whether that food is in terms of the food grain or in terms of poultry, sheep husbandry, or in terms of dairy products. We need to have proper mechanization, technical embracement, and we need to have subsidies and promote our farmers, help our farmers in these sectors. The next sector which needs drastic revolution is the digital transformation. The digital transformation, where currently we're undergoing the fourth industrial revolution, wherein the new age technologies like the artificial intelligence, cloud computing, robotics, the Internet of Things, and the data mining, data analytics, they are taking the world by their stride. And we're at the cusp of the fifth industrial revolution now. This fifth industrial revolution will be marked by greater interaction, greater collaboration between humans and cyber physical systems. That is, there will be an interaction between humans and robots, and this will be customized to fulfill our needs. So we need to prepare our next generation for this fifth industrial revolution, as we need to work as on today on these aspects and prepare them to meet the future challenges. A whole lot of jobs will be lost because of this mechanization, because of the fifth industrial revolution, but at the same time, a whole lot of new jobs will be created. So we need to orient the direction of our skill enhancement of our youth towards that area where it is needed. And we need to give them those skills, those training competencies, and those that kind of education where it is needed in the coming years in order to meet the challenges of fifth industrial revolution. So that is one important area. Already Government of India has taken a whole lot of measures for digital transformation, whether it is the e-Aadhaar, DigiLocker, Crime and Control Tracking Network, e-Codes, Goods and Services Network. A whole lot of measures have already been taken by the government in banking, commerce, industry, education, healthcare. But more measures need to be taken. This has to be a continuing process till we achieve the dream of a developed nation. The government of India also intends to establish data center economic zones, DCEZ, across the nation. These data center economic zones will help a lot in concentrating and our technologies, our energies, our knowledge, our equipment in particular areas so that maximum people benefit. And India's journey towards a developed economy will be powered by this digital transformation. The data market is also rapidly expanding, increasing the demand for reliable and scalable data centers. The country's government support will definitely propel India data center industry forward. So embracing the technology is very, very important. Embracing technology in governance, in industry, in public sector, in private sector is very important to keep pace with the changing times and trends worldwide. We should not lag behind in terms of technological enhancement, in terms of goal-based sustainable development frameworks, and we need to carry our mission forward. Already government has taken several steps in this direction by bringing out a medtech policy, by enhancing our gross expenditure on research and development, and ISRO in space technology, in defense, in healthcare. The technology is being adopted very fast. And even in COVID-19, the government did a very commendable work by supplying these the COVID vaccines to the world, and adopting technology. And during the last couple of years, also Digital India has played a very significant role in nation's resilient response to the deadly pandemic. And today, India boasts of the world's third highest number of startups with new unicorns. There are new unicorns coming up. Our startups have increased to thousands over the last few years. In 2014, where we had only 500 or something startups, today they have increased to more than 84,000. So technological embracement, automation, workflow automation is going on at a very brisk pace, which needs to be continued further, and which needs to be emulated and adopted in each and every sector. The next area is promoting interfaith and intercaste unity and harmony, because this is very important, because any peace, tranquility, progress is not possible without a complete atmosphere of peace, tranquility, amity, brotherhood, harmony, stability, safety and security, equity, justice, law and order. These are very important areas. Unless there is stability in a country, unless there is peace and harmony among all sections, among all castes, the progress will be hindered. Development will be hindered.
Sir, kindly check your internet connection. You are not audible.
Fun together without any fear of retribution or any sufferings in terms, there is the conflicts around the world are damaging the peace and stability. We have a conflict in the Ukrainian region, a conflict in the Middle East region, which is affecting the peace and stability, and as a result of which it is affecting our march towards the sustainable development goals. So it becomes very important to have people-friendly policies. Already Government of India is working on Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas policy, wherein all the sections are being treated equally. And Honorable Prime Minister said, on the Constitution Day on November 26th, that India is strengthening the ideals of Constitution, and the pro-people policies are empowering the poor and women of the country. Honorable Prime Minister reiterated that in the current global scenario, the world is looking at India with hope. He referred to the first three words of the preamble, "We the people," and said, "It is a call, trust, and an oath." This spirit of Constitution is the spirit of India. which has been the mother of democracy in the world. Underlying the youth-centric spirit of the Constitution, Prime Minister said that it is known for its openness, futuristic and modern vision. So, terming the Amrit Kal as Kartavya Kal, the Prime Minister emphasized that mantra of duty towards the nation is first and foremost. So that makes it amply clear that government policies are people-friendly and they are bent towards the peace, harmony, amity, brotherhood, and stability of the country, which will pave way for the Viksit Bharat in 2047. Now, dear participants, I hope I'm audible as well as the slides are moving. Am I audible and visible as well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
You are audible. You are audible.
Right. So I will now,
Go ahead,
as emphasized by the Prime Minister of India, that we need to start from ourselves. We need to start from I. So what can we do? We as individuals, how can we contribute towards this vision of developed India? We need to go back to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And from there, we'll get the inspiration as well as the motivation to contribute towards this Viksit Bharat Abhiyan. We can donate whatever we don't use. The first goal, how to reduce the poverty. We can donate whatever we don't use, whatever we have surplus, we can donate. More than 700 people still live in extreme poverty throughout the world. So donate whatever you are not using. That is the first. Then second goal is zero hunger. What can you do to reduce hunger? What can we as individuals do to reduce hunger? Waste less food and support local farmers. Please do not waste food. Do not use only that much what you can consume, and try to support the local farmers. A third of the world's food is wasted every year, so that needs to be reduced. Third goal is good health and well-being. What can we do? We can vaccinate our families. We can spread awareness and education about good health, wellness. We can prevent sedentary life.
Sir, kindly check once again. You are not audible. I think you have a weak internet connection.
In our own communities. Then gender equality, we can empower women, we can empower girls in our own families, in our own workspaces, in our own schools and colleges, and ensure their equal rights. So that is what we can do. And for goal number 6, that is clean water and energy, we can simply avoid wasting water. We can, in order to overcome water scarcity, which affects more than 40% of the world population, we can just close the tap when it is not being used. And we can avoid using drinking water for other purposes. Then goal 7, affordable and clean energy, use only energy efficient appliances and light bulbs. Then goal 8, decent work and economic growth. We can create job opportunities for youth. We can undertake entrepreneurship and we can employ other people. Then goal 9, industrial innovation and infrastructure. We can fund projects that provide basic infrastructure. Goal 10, reduced inequalities. We can support the marginalized communities. We can support the disadvantaged. We can support the other. We can support the people who have been deprived in our communities or societies. And then goal 10, sustainable cities and communities. We can have bike, walk, or use public transport instead of every time using these petrol vehicles, diesel-driven vehicles. Sometimes we can pool the vehicles, we can use bikes or walk. And then goal 12, responsible consumption and production. We can recycle paper, recycle plastics, glass and aluminum in order to conserve these. And goal 13 for climate action, we need to be more vigilant, more alert, more educated, more empowered and aware. And we need to act now to stop global warming. We need to stop unnecessary use of energy. And wherever we can prevent emissions, global emissions of carbon dioxide have increased by almost 50% since 1990. So this we can contribute towards reducing the emission. And goal 14, life below water, we can avoid plastic bags, which we throw in the lakes, ponds, oceans, and we can keep our water bodies clean. Life on land, we can plant a tree and help protect the environment. if each one of us plants a tree, it can contribute very significantly towards green glow, this globe. And goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. We can stand up for human rights. And because in 2018, the number of people fleeing war, prosecution, and conflict has exceeded 70 million. Then goal 17, partnerships. We can lobby to boost development financing. As I said, we can promote cooperative and competitive federalism. So these are some of the actions which we can take at our individual level, at our personal level, in our own humble and modest way, which will contribute towards competitive federalism, which will contribute towards the COP28 agenda. COP28 is a climate change this summit, which was held in Dubai. And there, these 17 goals were given for being together for our planet. So we can work. Our students need to be taught about these, the climate change actions, the climate change conference in Glasgow, COP26, the 27 in Sharm el Sheikh, and 28 in Dubai. What was the outcome of these conferences? We need to keep track of these. And then the Lifestyle for Environment campaign, which is known as the LIFE campaign, which was enumerated by the Prime Minister of India during the Glasgow summit of the climate change COP26, in which again he has given certain goals which need to be achieved. By LIFE stands for lifestyle for the environment, adopting a lifestyle which is pro-environment, which is inclined towards the green energies. So our students need to be taught about these. They need to know about the 7 categories of 75 live actions. These are the 7 categories. These live actions have been identified for sustainable growth, for sustainable environment, and the Prime Minister's 9 agrahas, requests or sankalps, need to be taught to the students, which he has made during Sword Mahamandir at Varanasi on 18th of December. And lastly, the circular economy needs to be promoted. The leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, and recycling of existing material as long as possible, so that their shelf life increases. And from, as I was mentioning, from mindless consumption to mindful utilization, we have to move. So I think these are the areas which need to be addressed and which we need to look into in order to contribute in our own little way towards a Viksit Bharat. So I hope I have made myself clear, and I hope you have gained some basic information about the Sustainable Development Goals and the goals for achieving the Viksit Bharat by 2047. I wholeheartedly thank the organizers as well as the management of the Government Degree College for giving me this opportunity to express my views and suggestions at this occasion. Many thanks to all of you. Over to you. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to take the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for delivering such a beautiful presentation on the theme, fulfilling our dream of Viksit Bharat by the year 2047. So your presentation was enriched with knowledge, wisdom, your experiences, and a reliable research data. Sir, as responsible citizens and custodians of higher education, we must encourage our youngsters to explore new areas of knowledge, new areas of research, in order to contribute in achieving SDGs that you discussed in your presentation of achieving Viksit Bharat, so that those who will be alive by 2047 will be celebrating the 100th year of independence and will be celebrating a developed India. Now I request the participants, if they have to ask any question to our guest speaker, they want to add something to the title of the presentation, they can ask it one by one. And I request our coordinator, IKC, Dr. Syed Bathar Akib, kindly allow one by one those who are interested, they can talk to directly to Professor Gir Saab. Muthar Saab, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Any
All the
participant is
participants
wishing
are requested to raise their hand. There's an option of raising your hand in Zoom, which should allow us to identify you, and we will unmute you. Or you can unmute yourself and ask the question to our learned speaker. If any participant has some question or some observation about this lecture, they may kindly unmute themselves and ask a question. Anyone there? Zaid Sahab, I think you move on with the concluding remarks from Dr. Umaira Qadri.
Thank you so much. Sir, once again, I thank you on behalf of the college and on behalf of IQAC for delivering such a beautiful presentation. Now I request Dr. Umaira Qadri, Dean Research, Government Degree College, Baramulla, and Head Department of Environment Science, to formally present the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Zaid Sahab, we have one participant here. Just 1 second.
Okay,
1 second.
okay.
We have Dr. Saeed Ajaz Faridi. I think sir wants to ask something. Sir, kindly ask your question, sir.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum and
Very
adab to
important.
everybody.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Congratulations
Walaikum
to
assalam.
the whole team, particularly the principal of the college. Welcome, Professor Gir Muhammad Ishaq, sir. Actually, it's not a question, it's an observation. Before launching ourselves well for Viksit Bharat, I think the other part of the coin is that we should first know what Bharat is. Most of the Bharatis, they don't know the strengths and the weaknesses of Bharat, as you have also hinted at in your lecture. And one thing, other observation is that suppose when we are talking about indigenous varieties and hybrid varieties, in order to boost productivity and circular economy, I have learned it from some agriculture scientists, and you are the right person to throw some light on that. That suppose in the context of J&K, we have some indigenous varieties, and we are replacing those varieties by high-yielding varieties in horticulture, in agriculture, and so on. How do you, sir, suggest that we should tackle with this problem? Your lecture
Thank you
was,
very much. Yes.
pardon, sir, your lecture was illuminating. There are so many takeaways we are enriched with. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the kind words of appreciation, Dr. Saeed Ajaz Farid Saab. You have raised a very important question regarding the preference, whether we should give preference to hybrid varieties or we should own and foster our own indigenous varieties, which is very, very important. Yes, of course, the worldwide, the emphasis is on promoting your own indigenous varieties, not only the plants, but even the culture, the traditions, the customs, everything has to be preserved. Whatever you own as your own, and whatever is there, which is indigenous to your region, your state, your country, that always has to be protected, always has to be promoted, no doubt about that. But at the same time, for example, in Kashmir, we have our own indigenous varieties of rice, the mushk bhujji, and similarly, we have our own varieties of the vegetables, the fruits, which always need to be protected. And we cannot give preference to hybrid varieties over that. But in order to increase now, at the same time, in order to increase the productivity, for example, if we are going for normal rice rather than mushk bhujji, if we are going for normal rice, there it is better to have a variety which is high yielding, which will increase the productivity. If we are going for normal apple production, which is not of any indigenous character or indigenous variety, there it is better to have a high yield. No doubt, there is no harm in that. Because, if we look at, you reminded me of the wheat production several decades ago, when we switched over to the hybrid variety of wheat, in order to have more production. Earlier, the wheat plants used to be very good in height, but now they are very small in height because of the hybrid variety. And many health workers, many experts worldwide believe that is what actually led to surge in diabetes, because the hybrid variety produces high glycemic index, and it produces a peak of blood sugar in the blood, which was not the case with the indigenous variety of wheat, wherein we had the plants of very height. And so everything comes at a cost. There are advantages and disadvantages of everything, every change that we make. So we need to balance the risk benefit ratio, the hazard benefit ratio. And if the benefit is more, hazard is less, we need to adopt that technology. If the hazard is more, we need to shun that technology, as simple as that. But that doesn't mean that it has to come at the cost of the indigenous varieties. Not at all. Indigenous varieties have to be protected at every cost, under all circumstances. Then whether it is the indigenous plants, the fruits, the customs, traditions, or culture, it has to be our national education policy. It is the bedrock of our national education policy to preserve the local languages, to maximize the usage of local languages, to preserve the culture and traditions, the preserve our roots of Indian traditions, and Indianness has to be protected. So that, having said that, there is no doubt that indigenous varieties have to be given preference, but at the same time, wherever normal varieties are being used, to increase the productivity, the hybrid varieties, if they are replaced by them, which based on the benefit hazard ratio, the benefit is more. There is no harm in it. The agricultural experts know it, which one to suggest to the people and which one not to suggest. So accordingly, the government and the agriculture department has to take a call on that, where all it is possible and feasible, where it is viable. There in those areas, they can adopt the hybrid varieties. Thank you very much for that question, which gave me a chance to clarify. Any other question?
Bharat sir? Do we have any other question? If anybody is interested to ask any question or any clarification, they can raise their hands.
We have Dr. Sachin Kumar. He has raised his hand. Kindly unmute yourself. Dr. Sachin Kumar. Kindly unmute yourself. Are you there?
Hello,
He's saying I'm
am I
unable to
audible?
unmute. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, Professor Ishaq. Thank you very much for this nice talk you have given to us. My question regarding the, basically I am from Delhi, Delhi Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research University. My question is, in Delhi, what I have seen in the last 10 years, that students are moving towards higher education because they are not getting jobs after doing their B Pharm. Particularly, I'm talking about pharmacy. So they want to move into M Pharm because it is easier to take admission in M Pharm because we have so many private colleges here. So when students are not having job after B Pharm because there are very limited opportunity, and they are going for higher education and further education. So how you are looking into that picture, that how these kind of situations might curtail this idea that it might be not so useful for this Bharat at 2047? What is your take on that, sir?
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sachin Kumarji. Once again, the solution lies in national education policy, which seeks to bring a 360-degree paradigm shift in the way we used to educate, we used to train our students. Because earlier we used to have more of classroom-based teaching and more of one-way lecture and less of field work, less of experiential learning, less of project-based learning, problem-based learning. So now the focus is more on innovation, incubation, entrepreneurship development. Even in pharmaceutical sciences or food sciences or any other sciences, the focus is more on experiential learning in real life situations. So we'll be expecting more of industrial visits. We'll be experiencing more of entrepreneur ventures, startups. So when students switch over to more and more of startups, entrepreneur ventures, innovation, incubation, obviously the employment opportunities will increase, and not only for them, but they will create opportunities for others as well. They will themselves become employers. Instead of seeking a government job or instead of seeking a job in some industry, they will themselves become entrepreneurs and they will employ others as well, because there's a tremendous scope, at least in pharmaceutical sciences, in that. The students can learn how to manufacture drugs, how to cultivate medicinal plants, how to extract natural products from those medicinal plants. and how to bring innovation in the new drug technologies, drug delivery systems. So when they innovate and incubate, they bring up new startups, new technologies, and new entrepreneurial ventures. That will obviously increase the job opportunities, not only for our students, but they can increase job opportunities for others as well. And same thing will be replicated in other areas, other sectors, whether it's the food technology, whether it is the health, whether it is the nutrition or nanotechnology or any other area. So new education policy provides the solution to bring the students out of that desolation, out of that morass of unemployment and their skill deprivation. As I said during my lecture, not only it seeks to enhance the employment, but also the employability of the students. Employability refers to skill enhancement, competency levels. So when students become more skill oriented, more competent, obviously, suppose the students know how to test the drugs, they will be in a position to establish their own drug testing laboratories. When they know how to manufacture, they'll be able to establish their manufacturing units. When they know how to research and develop new molecules, they'll be in a position to research more using computer-aided drug design and new technologies. So that is the way I think one is the new education. That's why I had delivered a lecture in MIMS University, Jaipur, on how this new education policy could be implemented in pharmaceutical sciences. There I have discussed in detail about the areas in which new education policy could be implemented in pharmaceutical sciences also. And that way, the employability and employment chances of our students will increase.
Thank you, sir, for kind suggestions.
Thank you.
Mudahir sir, do we have any?
No. We don't have any
who wish
question.
to ask something? Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for replying the queries asked by the learned participants. Now I request Dr. Mara Qadri, Dean Research, GDC Baramulla, and Head of Department of Environmental Science, to formally present the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a treat to propose a vote of thanks, particularly when the lecture is delivered by Professor Gir Mohammad Ishaq. He's a regular speaker in all our conferences and whichever webinar series or lecture series we are organizing in any of the colleges we are posted in. He is always there. Thank you so much, sir, for being there on a very short notice. I take it as my privilege today to propose a vote of thanks to our esteemed speaker and revered participants on this platform of intellectual discourse. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for gracing us with your presence today. It has been an enlightening experience to delve deep into the topic, fulfilling our dream of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Our esteemed speaker, Professor Gir Mohammad Ishaq, has not only shed light on the vision, but also inspired us with actionable insights and strategies. The depth of the knowledge shared today will undoubtedly guide us as we journey towards a developed and prosperous country by 2047. I'd like to thank our speaker for his dedication, for his expertise and passion in delivering such an impactful lecture. Your insights have ignited a flame of hope and determination in each of us as we contribute towards realizing this dream for our country. Special thanks to all the attendees for your active participation, thoughtful questions, and enthusiasm. I would like to, it's noteworthy that the engagement of the participants, their thoughtful questions, their commitment towards making this lecture a very enriching experience is commendable. The vote of thanks won't be complete without thanking our worthy principal, Professor Mohammad Farooq Rathir Saab, and our secretaries for the Staff Council, Professor Tariq Ahmed Chalku, who have always believed in us and given us the freedom to execute whatever sane and insane comes to our minds, because we are always, very restless and trying to contribute towards the development of education as well as research in the colleges. In closing, let's carry forward the spirit of today's discussion and work collaboratively to transform our vision of Viksit Bharat into a tangible reality by 2047. Thank you once again, and let's move forward with a renewed vigor and dedication. Thank you very much, all of you, for being a part of this journey.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. Thank you,
You're
Principal
most welcome,
Saab,
sir.
Dr. Humera ji, Dr. Saeed Mutahar, and Dr. Zahid Saab. Many thanks to you. It was
Thank
really
you
a
so
pleasure.
much, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for presenting the vote of thanks. I request all the participants, if they are interested, kindly on your cameras so that we can have a good photograph for reference and record. I request Dr. Syed Mutarake, please kindly click a picture of your screen for reference and record. It is done, sir?
Let's wait for 1 minute. Let everyone
Okay.
open their cameras. Okay, it's done.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I thank you all the participants, worthy principal and Dr. Syed Mutarake, and all the people who have been actually engaged in conducting this webinar series. Let's call it off, and we'll be waiting you in the next session. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, himself.